The light in the room is dim, the kind of heavy blue-hour silence that makes you notice the ticking of a clock you usually ignore. You're sitting across from someone you care about, maybe someone you love, and you realize with a sudden cold clarity that they aren't really there. Their eyes are tracking a screen, or perhaps they're wandering to the window, but they aren't on you. You've become a fixture in their lives, like a piece of furniture or the air they breathe, necessary perhaps, but entirely invisible. There's a specific kind of ache that comes with being taken for granted, a slow-burning realization that you have made yourself too available, too predictable, and too easy to overlook. We are taught that to love is to give everything, to be the constant, the rock, and the ever-present shadow. But in the quiet mechanics of the human psyche, there is a darker, more honest truth. We do not value what we do not fear losing. It is an uncomfortable reality to face, but the moment the threat of your absence vanishes, the value of your presence begins to erode. This isn't about manipulation in the way a villain might use it. It is about the restoration of your own gravity. It is about understanding the psychological leverage required to make someone wake up and realize that the ground beneath them, the ground you provide, is not a permanent right, but a fleeting privilege. To understand how to make someone fear losing you, you must first understand the concept of the infinite supply. Think of a spring that never runs dry, no matter how much water you draw from it. Initially, that spring is a miracle, a place of pilgrimage. But as years pass, it becomes a utility. No one thanks the tap for the water until the pipes go dry. If you have positioned yourself as an infinite resource, always answering the text within seconds, always rearranging your schedule to fit theirs, always being the one to mend the bridge after a fight you didn't start, you have effectively killed the incentive for them to value you. You have removed the risk from the relationship. Human psychology is hardwired to prioritize the scarce and the precarious. We are descendants of survivors who had to hunt for what was rare and guard what was fragile. When you become too sturdy, too reliable, and too immovable, you cease to be a person and become a background process. To change this, you have to reintroduce the element of the unknown. You have to reclaim the parts of yourself that you've outsourced to their convenience. It begins with the subtle withdrawal of the things they've grown to expect as their birthright. It's the pause before you reply, the evening spent away without a detailed itinerary, the realization on their part that you have a world that does not require their permission to turn. There's a visceral shift that happens when a person realizes they no longer have a monopoly on your attention. It's a quiet panic, a sudden sharpening of the senses. Imagine a bird that has sat on your windowsill every morning for a year. You stop looking at it after the first week. You know it'll be there. But one morning you look out and the sill is empty. The silence where the bird song used to be is louder than the song itself. This is the loss versus Moroi, or the loss aversion. Principle in action. A psychological phenomenon where the pain of losing something is twice as powerful as the joy of gaining it. Most people spend their lives trying to gain more love, more attention, and more validation, but they forget that the strongest leverage lies in the potential for loss. When you begin to invest back into yourself, into your own passions, your own physical presence, and your own mysterious inner life, you are effectively removing your supply from their immediate reach. You aren't being cold, you're becoming substantial. You are reminding them that you are an independent entity with your own orbit. When they see you thriving, laughing, or deep in thought about something that has nothing to do with them, the realization hits. You are a prize that could at any moment be claimed by the world or simply by your own solitude. This process requires a certain degree of emotional stoicism. You cannot make someone fear losing you if you are visibly terrified of losing them. Fear is a scent, and it is pervasive. If every move you make is a calculated attempt to get a reaction, they will see the strings and the illusion will shatter. True leverage comes from a place of genuine self-sufficiency. It is the quiet confidence of a person who knows their own worth is not a fluctuating currency managed by someone else as interest. You must reach a point where your walk-away power is not a bluff, but a reality. This doesn't mean you leave the relationship, but it means you are mentally and emotionally capable of surviving and thriving without it. When you stop leaning so heavily on them for your sense of self, the pressure shifts. They feel the loss of that weight, and suddenly, they are the ones reaching out to steady the connection. They begin to notice the way you dress when you aren't with them, the way your phone hums with notifications from a life they aren't fully part of, and the way you look at them with kindness, but not with desperation. The power dynamic begins to level out because you have reintroduced the value of the absent. We often mistake availability for loyalty, but they are not the same thing. Loyalty is a choice made in the face of options. Availability is just a lack of other things to do. If you want to be truly valued, you must have options. Not necessarily other romantic options, though the perception of desirability never hurts, but options for your time, your energy, and your spirit. When you are busy, it shouldn't be a lie you tell to seem important. It should be the truth of a life well lived. A person who is constantly building, learning, and exploring is a moving target. It is impossible to take a moving target for granted because you never quite know where they will be tomorrow. This creates a healthy tension, a realization that to keep you, they must keep up with you. They must earn the right to occupy your time because that time is clearly being spent on things of substance. You become a person of high replacement cost. The psyche evaluates the people in our lives much like an insurance adjuster. What would it cost me to find this again? If the answer is nothing, they'll be waiting by the phone anyway, then your value is 0. But if the answer is everything, then they will guard your heart with a ferocity you've never seen. The most profound moment in this journey is the standard setting phase. It is the moment you stop accepting crumbs and realize you are the architect of the feast. When you set a boundary and actually enforce it, when you say, I won't be treated this way, and then walk out the door for the night, you are teaching them the geography of your soul. You are showing them where the edges are. Most people are afraid to set boundaries because they fear the other person will leave. But the irony is that boundaries make you more attractive. They signal that you have something worth protecting. A person with no boundaries is like a house with no walls. Anyone can wander in, but no one wants to live there. By creating a space where your presence must be earned through respect and consistency, you trigger the scarcity heuristic. People value what is difficult to obtain and even harder to keep. When they realize that your love is a high-performance machine that requires high-quality fuel, they will stop trying to run it on fumes. They will start paying attention to the details again, the way you like your coffee, the stories you tell, the dreams you mention in passing. Because they know that if they fall asleep at the wheel, the car will keep driving without them. But there is a delicate balance to strike here. This isn't about cruelty or playing games, it's about the preservation of the self. If you become a fortress, you will be lonely. The goal isn't to be unreachable, but to be unpossessable. There is a difference between being a closed book and a book that requires a slow, careful reading. You want to be the latter. You want to be the person who offers immense warmth and depth, but only to those who are willing to navigate the journey. As you pull back your energy and redirect it toward your own growth, you will notice a change in the atmosphere. The air between you and the other person will feel charged again. There will be a new look in their eyes, a mix of curiosity and a slight, healthy insecurity. They will start asking you questions they haven't asked in years. They will start noticing when you have done something different with your hair, or when you had a successful day at work. This is the rediscovery phase. Because you have stopped being a constant. You have become a variable once more. And the human brain is designed to solve for the variable. They are trying to figure you out again, and in that process of trying to solve you, they are falling back in love with the complexity of who you are. It is often said that we teach people how to treat us, but we also teach them how to value us. If you treat yourself like a clearance item, don't be surprised when people treat you like a bargain. Making someone fear losing you is, at its core, an act of extreme self-respect. It is the outward manifestation of the belief that your life is a grand, sweeping narrative and anyone else in it is a supporting character who must audition for their place every single day. This doesn't mean you are cold or unloving. On the contrary, it means your love is so potent and so valuable that it cannot be given away for free. It is a currency backed by the gold of your own character. When you move through the world with this energy, you don't have to demand attention, you command it. You don't have to beg for a seat at the table. People will move their chairs to make room for you. The fear of losing you becomes a natural byproduct of your excellence. They look at you and they see someone who is going places, someone who is evolving, someone who is whole even when they are alone. And that is the most terrifying thing in the world to someone who loves you. The realization that you don't actually need them, you only choose them. Think about the most magnetic people you've ever met. They always seem to have one foot in the room and one foot in another world. They are present, yes, but they aren't captured. They have a certain elsewhere about them, a secret garden of thoughts, ambitions, and self-assurance that you aren't allowed to enter without an invitation. This is the ultimate psychological leverage. It is the mystery of the unseen. When you give everything away, there is nothing left to wonder about. But when you keep a part of yourself back, a part that is just for you, you create a vacuum that the other person feels a desperate urge to fill. They will spend their energy trying to bridge the gap, trying to be the one who finally gets the full version of you. In doing so, they become deeply invested. Their ego, their heart, and their time are all tied up in the pursuit of you. And once someone has invested that much into a person, the thought of that investment walking away becomes unbearable. The fear of loss is not born from your threats to leave. It is born from their realization of how much they have put into staying. As you sit in that blue hour silence again, imagine the shift. Instead of waiting for them to look up, you are the one who is already looking elsewhere, at a book, at the horizon, or into the depths of your own next great idea. You aren't doing it to be mean, you're doing it because you are genuinely occupied with the business of being yourself. When they finally do look up, and they see that you're no longer waiting for them, that you're no longer the mirror reflecting their own importance back at them, something will click. They will feel a sudden, sharp pang of distance. They will reach out a hand to close that gap. They will speak your name not as a habit, but as a plea. They will realize that the infinite supply has found a new destination. You? And in that moment, the power balance shifts irrevocably. They aren't just with you anymore. They are keeping you. They are realizing that every day they have with you is a day they could have lost, and they will start acting accordingly. This is the art of being irreplaceable. It is not about being perfect. It is about being sovereign. It is about understanding that the only way to never be lost is to be someone who is always found within themselves first. The transition from being available to being coveted is a journey of 1,000 small subtractions. It is the text you don't send. It is the yes that becomes a maybe. I'll have to check my schedule. It is the emotional outburst that you replace with a calm, steady gaze. Every time you choose not to react, you are gaining ground. Every time you choose your own peace over their drama, you are raising your price. We are often afraid that if we pull back, the other person will simply move on. And it's true, some might. But those are the people who were never looking for a partner. They were looking for a servant. By introducing the fear of loss, you're also performing a necessary cull of your own life. You're filtering out those who only valued your convenience and making room for those who value your essence. The people who truly belong in your life will not be driven away by your self-respect. They will be magnetized by it. They will see your rising value and they will rise to meet it. They will realize that if they want to stay in your orbit, they have to work for it. And they will do so gladly because humans are never happier than when they are earning something they know is rare and beautiful. Have you ever felt like you're constantly seeking approval from others? Like your happiness depends on someone else's mood or their opinion of you? I've been there, and let me tell you, it's an exhausting way to live. But what if I told you there's a way to break free from that cycle? It's about understanding something called emotional sovereignty. Think about it this way. In any relationship, whether it's with a friend, a partner, or even a family member, there's a delicate balance of power. This isn't about manipulation, it's about psychological leverage. The person who needs the other person less, who is more emotionally independent, naturally holds more of this leverage. When you constantly seek validation, you're essentially handing over your power. You're saying, your approval is more important than my own peace. This is where the real work begins. It starts with building your own self-worth from the inside out. Your value isn't determined by who likes you, who texts you back, or who thinks you're amazing. Your value is inherent. It's unchanging. It was there before them, and it will be there long after. So, how do we cultivate this inner strength? Start by investing in yourself. Pour your energy into hobbies that light you up, into learning new skills, into spending quality time with yourself. Build a life that you love, a life that feels so full and vibrant that anyone who gets to be a part of it is lucky. When you have your own rich inner world, you stop looking for someone else to be your entire world. This isn't about playing games or being cold. It's the opposite. It's about being so secure in who you are that you can love and connect from a place of wholeness, not from a place of need. You stop overthinking every little interaction. You stop analyzing texts. You stop worrying if you're enough, because you know you are. When you achieve this emotional sovereignty, something magical happens. The dynamic shifts. People are naturally drawn to confidence and self-assurance. When they see that you don't need their approval to be happy, it paradoxically makes them want to give it to you more. You become a magnetic force, not because you're trying to be, but because you're genuinely content with yourself. Your peace of mind is your most valuable asset. Don't hand it over to anyone. Protect it. Nurture your own self-worth. Fill your own cup. The moment you stop needing others to validate you is the moment you reclaim your power and truly start living. Remember, you are the prize. Never forget that. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content that empowers you. See you next time.